If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. I know that many of you have felt emotionally and relationally beat up by religious narcissists, and I'm going to address that theme here today. And I specifically want to talk with you about how religious narcissists will gaslight the daylights out of you. Now, before we get all the way into that, I want to kind of pull back and put a perspective on this. Let's keep in mind that narcissists operate with a lot of what I refer to as imperative thinking. And we go back to the dictionary and we remind ourselves that when something is imperative, it's very directive, very command-oriented, do this, don't do that. And we have the imperative words in our vocabulary: have to, must, can't, should, supposed to, ought to, got to, need to, had better. That's the imperative mindset. And as a result, narcissists are drawn towards all sorts of themes and systems that will foster that imperative way of thinking. Whether it's in the way that they manage themselves in businesses or organizations, there's a great deal of imperative inside of politics. Here's the way it has to be. According to me, it can't be any other way. Many times narcissists will approach parenting or family relations with that imperative mindset. And then, of course, we can go straight into religious organizations, and that becomes a breeding ground for imperative thinkers. It's like, oh, well, actually here we have the ultimate authority figure, God. And so God to them stands for everything that is imperative. You must, you've got to, you have to, you're supposed to. And as a result, narcissistic individuals will look at religious themes through that kind of lens. Now, as a matter of personal disclosure, I grew up in a Christian tradition. I'm currently a member of an Episcopal church. I'm very comfortable in trying to seek out questions like, why are we here? And what is the meaning of love? And what are we to do with the problem of evil or suffering or pain? And I like going into that kind of dimension. And so I don't want to be somebody that bashes the whole notion of religiosity and spirituality. I think that it has its place. One of the things, though, that we can say is that when narcissists ponder questions like that and they enter into the realm of religiosity, they want to have such a strong sense of certainty that they leave little room for divergence or mystery or complexity. Again, speaking personally, one of the things I found in my decades in my own personal spiritual journey, the more I know, the more I realize how much I don't know. And as I age, I actually am more and more comfortable with mystery and with saying, sometimes what we think may be the ultimate absolute truth may catch us off guard, and there can always be something that comes along that puts a different spin on the way that we think about things. I'm okay with that. But narcissists, when they come to religiosity, they like to use two of their favorite words as they relate to what it means to be religious. And those two favorite words are, I know. And as they have this notion that says, I know, that becomes the beginning point of them gaslighting you. Now, in their mind, as narcissists approach religious themes, they have it in their thought that says, look, I already have this thing figured out. And the implication is, and you're supposed to have it figured out too, just like me. Now, keep in mind, that's that imperative style of thinking. There's a certain way it's supposed to be. I have the formula. I'm in the club. You need to get in that inside that formula, and you can be in the club with me as well. And then part of the gaslighting then starts from the notion that says, if you have differing perspectives, well, then you're going to drop out of favor, as opposed to saying, well, tell me about your differing perspectives. No, there's a fixed way that it's supposed to be, and you can't differ, at least not too much. And if you do differ, you need to eventually find your way back to the right path of thinking. In their narcissism, these individuals will not at all be bashful about pronouncing judgment upon you for being wrong. And when I say wrong, not the same as them. And then there's a special place of judgment for certain groups of people. At the top of the list are atheists, and then right below them are the agnostics. And then, of course, you have the backsliders, and then you have inconsistent people, those who've made mistakes and blunders, and then they make a few more mistakes, and they've had personal failures. And then you have the people that use the term "I'm spiritual but not I'm spiritual but not religious." A lot of religious people can't stand that phrase. And then basically, they have a special judgment for people who are outside their orthodoxy or outside their religious dogma, because we go back and remember, two of their favorite words are, I know. Now, the gaslighting happens when they will let you know in no uncertain terms that you need to stay consistent with their rules. You need to stay consistent with their interpretations. You need to stay consistent with their traditions. You need to stay consistent with whatever it takes religiously to keep them feeling comfortable. And then the implication is they're putting their correctness and their insistence upon you is there's something dreadfully wrong if you just can't see the light, like I see the light. And the part of the gaslighting is narcissists in their religiosity can actually say, oh, I'm being very loving toward you. And the way I'm going to be loving is I'm going to explain to you how you need to live life. And you may be over there thinking, I don't feel very loved right now. I just feel like I'm kind of like cattle being herded inside a certain pen. And if I fit the groove, I'm okay. And if not, then it's curtains for me. But they'll say, no, actually, this is my love for you. It's like, no, it's not. Part of the gaslighting that they will bring toward you is they'll let you know if you do express doubt, there's something wrong with you. They have such a strong need for certainty that doubt or questions are to be left behind. You needed to have come to terms with all of those a long time ago. If you're mature like me, you won't have any more doubts, which goes contrary to where I am. It's like, well, the older I get, the more I have all sorts of question marks that I just can't come to terms with, and I'm okay with that. In their gaslighting, narcissists will imply you have to prove your loyalty to me and to God by being consistent with church activities. And so they practice what I refer to as churchianity. And then in addition, they'll also say, hey, look, when I'm telling you how to interpret life, it's not me that's telling you. It's the Bible, or it's our instruction books, or it's our dogmatic manuals. So it's not me. I'm just trying to be a conduit for the things that are good. And you're over there thinking, it sounds like you to me. You're trying to superimpose your style. And in the meantime, many of these religious narcissists overlook certain key elements that could go along with their approach to religion. Elements like freedom, the privilege to choose. Elements like allowing for exceptions to the rules. You know, one of the things that happens, particularly when you're in my seat and you've listened to many, many stories, there are complexities, there are intricacies in life that don't necessarily fit inside the tight grooves, and narcissists overlook that. It's like, no, you have to stay inside the grooves. In addition, one of the things that narcissists tend to forget in their religiosity is learning how to accept people in the midst of lifestyle differences. Not everybody has the same practices or interpretations or preferences as you, that narcissist, would do. Narcissists overlook any kind of eagerness to truly know you. And when I say that, I don't mean collecting data about you, but knowing who you are and what your backstory is and how you've arrived at the station in life that you are right now, and then being okay with who you are. They don't do that. Narcissists, in their approach to religiosity, they tend not to approach you with pure love. When I say love, I mean just love. Patience and kindness, a lack of arrogance, a lack of insistence. They certainly overlook the need to compromise, and sometimes we need to have certain compromises. There are 30,000 or more different denominations inside of Christianity, and then that's just Christianity. There's so many other religious takes on God and the way of life beyond that. And it seems to me like there's going to have to be some sort of compromise and overlap, realizing, well, I emphasize this, I know you emphasize that. We can live with that. To certain religious narcissists, compromise is a filthy word that means you're asking me to give up my way of life, and I am not about to do that. So I know that many of you have had a certain kind of abuse, if you will, and certainly rejection and messages of judgment that come from religious narcissists. But let's keep in mind that religiosity is far more than having correct dogma. And I'm all for having your own orthodoxy in your beliefs. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But ultimately, it's not about fitting you inside a mold, which is what narcissists are all about. It's not about being superior. It's not about being better than. Religiosity, being a representative of God or understanding God and spirituality, starts with love and peace and honor and respect. Let's hold on to that. And that's our beginning point. At least that's where I'm coming from. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness and insight with respect to what you're dealing with. And I hope that you're able to come to terms with who you are and what you believe in a calm kind of way. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and Gus and I will keep more videos coming in your direction. I've often said Gus is Zen. I hope it's okay to say that, isn't it? Okay, Gus is Zen. Anyway, also, if you have a need to unpack this with a therapist, I'm so pleased that we're sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. And there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you can choose from. There's a link below that will take you to their website, and you can choose from that, and they'll show you how to walk you through the process of getting into that. It's very affordable and very accessible. So if that's something you need, I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. In addition, I have my therapeutic courses, and these are online classes with multiple videos, written materials, and questions that would guide you in a therapeutic direction. Ready, Set, Connect, about having healthy connection skills. This is me establishing good boundaries, Free to Be, about finding yourself despite the controllers in your life. We also have my podcast, our website with many articles. We have my books and other resources. I so appreciate you allowing me to be on your journey with you. I think it's fine. In fact, I think it's good, and it should be applauded when you say you want to pursue your life of spiritual maturity. Let's make sure that as you do, you don't bring those narcissistic characteristics with you. And I do hope that at the center of it all, there really can be that strong emphasis on dignity, respect, and civility. And most of all, you can become a person who stands for peace.